fantastic day. We're going to have a fantastic weekend with all the new lineups and old lineups too. This is probably one of the teams I'm more hyped for than anything else.
Because, yeah, we have an established base with them. We know that they can be a strong roster with a team of 5 great players. It's a matter of, have they found that synergy once again that they had, what, 6 months ago? We'll have to see here. Let's go ahead and check in with the players themselves as they actually talk about the games coming your way.
We were trying to get an organization for 2 seasons, so we're really happy that we found a new home in Granit Gaming. Method is basically the old roster from a season ago, and I'm not sure if if they settled yet, if they're feel confident yet. I feel like they seem to struggle a little bit. I also know that ADRD needs to 1 or 2 weeks also to adapt again, and they had a big break as well. So I think we can try to find a weak point there and try to strike strong there and maybe win the series. I think we prepared a lot, so I think as we stay on our strong point and focus on what we can do and not focus too much on what they can do, we will take the series.
So I'm joining a new team now, it's Method, and even though we played with the same exact roster before, a lot of time has passed since we played together, and I feel like we will still need a few weeks to get back into the shape. For me personally, the break was too long because I didn't qualify for mid-season Brawl, and also the team I joined was playing at mid-season, so they were practicing and playing together there. So I feel like it hurt me that I didn't get creams for that long. Granit Gaming was one of the worst teams in HGC last season, but even though they were not doing that good, I think Europe overall is very strong, and I would say there's not a single team in Europe that you can say, oh yeah, we get a free win, whatever happens. But I think if everything goes according to plan, we should take the series easily.
I've already said it, but again, I'm excited to see Bad Benny back on that main tank role. I feel like this roster, this one in particular, when they did play together and he was the main tank, they have a commanding lead when it comes to a 4-man. Bad Benny knows how he wants to have the 4-man run, which opens up a lot of space for Ethereal, and Ethereal is a very special player when he can be in that top lane.
I'm super hyped for the team for several reasons, and we already talked about how strong they were in the past when they even made it to BlizzCon. But at the same time, from a personal development perspective, if you think about it, a lot of these guys have just switched teams because they played together for a long time. There was a couple of, some friction just building up in the team. And of course, when you are playing together for such a huge period of time, at some point the grass always looks green on the other side, and you're looking towards other teams and well, if I could just play with these guys, maybe it would be better. So they tried that for half a year, and then they realized, well, maybe over on that side, everything isn't as peachy either. So now they come back together as a team. They have individually grown, experienced new lineups, new rosters, new environments, and they realize, hey, you know what? Back with the old guys, that really worked well. And just that personal growth, that pushes them to a limit where they can just say, okay, these little differences that we had, screw that. We worked well as a unit, and if they can get back into that rhythm with all the new experiences that they gathered, then I think they could be a fantastic force to be reckoned with within HGC Europe. So I'm very, very hyped to see how they can do. Maybe they need a little bit more time. AD already talked about that. Maybe they need another week or two. But I feel they have a lot of potential.
Friendship and rainbows. That's what Method is bringing today. Let's go ahead and go to game number 1.
Yeah, that's
the
bottom
best
line
of 5 series.
That's
what I got out of that entire rant there, Caldor.
The rainbows are the important part. You're watching too much RuPaul.
Oh, man. God, I love RuPaul. It's Vanjie. All right, Infernal Shrines will be our first map here, being picked up by Granit Gaming, so straight into it we go. A map that we see Method usually play a lot on, actually, in the last phase at least. So this new roster coming in here, we'll see if they'll be able to continue to do as well as they've done in the past. But Granit Gaming expecting to bring the fight to them quick. Yeah,
I'm curious to see what Granit Gaming can actually do. As AD already mentioned in the interview as well, they were in the last season, or in the last phase, they were one of the weaker teams. They ended up in the Crucible. But there's still potential in the team, and maybe having an all-German team now is increasing the efficiency level to
There's just a graph of the efficiency going up as they get more Germans on their team.
Yeah, it's
like this. And
it's like items in an RPG. You get like a +10 efficiency for every German player that you add.
This is the efficient build. This will work. Another German.
An efficient. Okay.
You're trying to do German, dude. Just talk.
Let's maybe not go there. We're going to bring that back in later, but yeah. So let's see if there's going to be enough efficiency on the side of Granit Gaming to take down a Method in their debut game today. With also Minecraft, who apparently renamed himself now officially into Memecraft.
I saw that, and I didn't want to say it first. I'm glad that you opened up with it, because I don't want to say Memecraft and realize it was a meme that was thrown on the website. Memecraft coming in here. Tell me a little bit about this guy.
I mean, he talked about it on his personal Twitter, because at first I really thought it was a bit of a joke that he put in there, but apparently he officially renamed himself now. Met him, I mean, I've talked to him a little bit on social media, but I've met him for the first time in Sweden, where he was in to take also like the pictures with the social media days. Granit Gaming actually with the opening that I would have probably more so expected from Method, going for a Medivh and a Sonya here on the 1-2.
That's actually something that I had written down on my notebook. Medivh, question mark.
Yeah.
What did we get today in the series? I was expecting from Method. One of the major things that we enjoyed about the old Method roster is that they would open up with ETC, Diablo, go with these Medivh combinations. You can't forget about ADRD. And with that, Granit Gaming expecting Medivh to get picked up at some point. They go ahead and just snap it away, and they grab Sonya, which is a wonderful top laner on this battleground due to how effective she can be on the shrines.
Yeah, so a lot of Shrine presence already claimed by Granit Gaming with an immediate pick here. Medivh, of course, always with the ability to save a target. I mean, it's not only about the force of will that he can use there, but at the same time, we're having also the portal aspect, where you can just simply set up a gank on the lane, or you can help someone to disengage from the Shrine. And a Method, I mean, it gives them pause for a moment here, but we have them with Blaze and now also Abathur. The Abathur pick may be something that is not quite as expected here, but I really like the opening with Malfurion and Blaze already. Now, what we've seen, not only at the mid-season brawl, but also when you look at yesterday's games, is that a lot of teams have snap-picked Blaze early on, and if they couldn't get him, Malfurion. But in this case, Method actually gets both of them. So that's two powerhouse picks that you get right off the bat, because Granit Gaming prioritized Medivh to that extent. And I actually think a big part of them highlighting Medivh that highly is that they expected Method to go for Medivh, since ADRD is, of course, known as a Medivh player.
Now, I'm wondering if I'm buying into this a little bit too much, but yesterday we saw Fnatic actually move straight into the Abathur solo support on Infernal Shrines. Granted, we had Malfurion this time, but it seemed like Abathur making maybe a bit more of a comeback here on this map, looking for a little bit more scrims in the early game, trying to find that experience lead by getting a couple of kills in those side laners. So we'll see if that'll pay off here for Method.
I mean, Abathur was always strong in Europe, and that has always been a theme. If you look at the first phase of HGC, teams like Tricked were so afraid of playing against Abathur that they basically banned him out in nearly every single game that they played. And he can add a lot to these lineups. So I think Abathur will always have a big place in Europe. And yeah, other regions don't quite follow up on that, but we have seen Abathur also picked, let's say, on the Korean side.
Diablo already an unkillable force with his recent rework if he's able to get nice and stacked up. But if you add a Medivh on top of that, he becomes a bully at controlling those shrines. So Method immediately enters back with the Diablo ban, making sure that he does not get picked up and gets the engages he wants.
New Diablo is on a 3-0 record yesterday in HGC Europe, so of course we have a very, very small sample size at this point, but it definitely shows that when he is picked into a good composition on a decent map, he can be a terrifying force to be reckoned with. So banning him out in the combo with Medivh makes a whole lot of sense here. And I feel for Method, one of the things that has to also figure into this is that when we talk about Granit Gaming, this is still a team that changed a lot. So there's not really too much data available from them. So you're not quite sure how they are going to prioritize certain picks. And I mean, they've proven that already with the Medivh Sonya rotation in the 1-2. So there's still a bit of an unknown factor when it comes to league play.
Old Granit Gaming would have ran Tychus immediately in this third and fourth pickup on this battleground and tried to control the map through transformations. And they kind of actually have a similar style here. They move straight into Garrosh, so we get that main tank set up to force those engages. And you have a similar engage to what you have with Diablo. Force a well in, get a taunt, throw a target in. But you also have Alexstrasza. They want to make sure they control these shrines with Dragon Queen coming in, and so far, their shrine clear, their shrine control looks powerful.
This is actually something that I also want to highlight a bit, because when you look at Alexstrasza, now first of all, we have also the pseudo support Medivh that helps out. So you have someone that can actually negate some of the weaknesses of Alexstrasza and add an added layer of protection here, so I like that. But I still want to highlight that we see a lot more Alexstrasza after the mid-season brawl, and one of the regions that has always played Alexstrasza a lot and is, in my opinion, responsible a lot for this shift now is actually North America.
Yeah.
Now, normally when we talk about the European and the North American scene, the European players and teams believe that their meta is the stronger one, and a lot of the picks that are taken over in North America are just like looked down upon slightly. But you have seen a fair amount of picks that NA prioritizes very highly now make their way into the international meta and the European meta as well. Good examples outside of Alexstrasza would be Jaina, which we've seen in Europe, played slightly, but not nearly as much as we have seen it on the North American side. And that's one of the cool things about international clashes, that you have metas just converge and people are figuring out, okay, what can we take from your region? What is actually a good pick and what is just something that's cute but doesn't really have an impact?
I remember in North America going full all in on the Transformer meta. We had a point where they would do Ragnaros, Molten Cores, Tychus Odin. They would try to grab all 3 on Infernal Shrines. It actually became a competition of what heroes you could take that were able to transform into those moments and have long duration abilities that can control space. Ragnaros Molten Core being able to shell away on the Shrine is actually a powerful tool if you don't lose that first fort.
And I mean, when we're talking about Alexstrasza, I highlighted him yesterday, but when we look towards June in Tempo Storm now, he played a fantastic tournament, has definitely established himself as one of the best support players in the world at the mid-season brawl, and his Alexstrasza play was absolutely fantastic. So that's definitely one of the things where the European teams have taken notice. And at this point, we have Gul'dan for the last pick, so a lot of area of effect damage now coming in as well, adding that AoE, adding that damage over time. It's good drafts on both sides, I really like it. It's a great setup for the first game. I'm just happy that we get this series. Today is going to be awesome. Fnatic versus Team Liquid is probably for most people the highlight when they're looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
But this is something that I am going to enjoy a lot just because we have the new Method team, the old new Method team, and I want to see how the Germans are going to perform here.
We get to test the waters a little bit.
Exactly.
We tip our feet in a little bit and see what's going on. Is Granit Gaming going to be a good team with this new roster they have in here? Method, an old roster being brought back. What's their power level? Will they find that synergy they had that got them to BlizzCon? All these questions getting answered in the next couple of hours. I think looking at this draft, though, I actually look at Granit Gaming. I like their control of the Shrine phase. I like their ability to follow up on the Shrines as well when they get that Punisher. A portal in after a stun is powerful when you have a Garrosh. They can find kills here. Where I look over to Method, and I feel like they have to win scrims early and be really effective at getting a kill before the Shrines even get started.
A big aspect for me is simply where's the execution level at for Granit Gaming.
Sure.
Because when it comes to the individual skill level, I think Method has to be acknowledged as just a more experienced team. And there also it's going to become a little bit of a factor. Where's Benny at right now?
Yeah.
He transitioned into the offlane for Fnatic. That didn't quite work out for him. Now he's back in the main tank role, and I expect him to have a much bigger impact now in the old role where a lot of players looked up to him as one of the best tanks when it came to positional play and controlling space. So I want to see if that works out for Method here today.
Let's go into it. Game number 1 on the left side in the blue, Granit Gaming. Raid Boss to play Garrosh, Memecraft on Gul'dan, Darkmok on Sonya, Wolfjo on Alexstrasza, and Nande to play Medivh.
Raid Boss back in HGC now once again, making his way in. And over to the right side, of course, the opponent. It is Method with AD-RD on Abathur. We have Bad Benny back on the main tank with Muradin. Nick, the silent assassin, is playing Hanzo. Ethereal finds himself on Blaze for the offlane. And Curzon is playing Malfurion. For once, not on the old man, not playing Deckard. But I would be very surprised if we didn't see that hero come into play throughout the series.
Yeah, he really did enjoy that Deckard. Especially at the MSB, pulling out a lot, one of the first to bring it in.
That's one of the things that I actually took away from the mid-season brawl, that Curzon identifies as an old man. So, yeah, I feel Deckard is definitely going to make an appearance here at one point or another.
Frail, tired, and wanting to throw things at you. It's what Curzon is. Granit Gaming opens up with clearing out the mid-wave right away. That'll be helpful with Gul'dan, and they'll be able to have the quick rotations due to Medivh. Method will be doing their best here to try and not fight into them in a 4-man, but if they can, find some pokes and try to find some low skirmishes, especially in that top lane. But Blaze versus Sonya is going to be a lane that Sonya should be able to handle pretty darn well. Raid Boss steps in, gets a throw as Nick has to jump away.
Yeah, and Memecraft is immediately there. It's still a bit weird for me to call him Memecraft. But yeah, so he's immediately in position and trying to put the extra damage in. Gets, of course, also some stacks going for his level 1, the Echoed Corruption, where he's currently sitting at 2. But, yep, there's another quick throw. Benny, on the other hand, can jump out. So, the threat potential is there from Granit Gaming, mostly through Garrosh in this early stage. But one of the more important parts is what's going to happen here when we have the Shrines being announced and fought over, since that should be a moment when Granit Gaming can actually go deep with this, especially with that control that they have through Sonya, Alexstrasza, and also, of course, Medivh to help them out if things turn sour.
That Vinny is buying a lot of space here with this Abathur half, poking like crazy. Can jump in, walks in, goes to grab the point, pops back in as Raid Boss has him away, so Granit Gaming is able to grab the point. And I like the actual teamwork there, knowing that they can leave Garrosh on the point and also port him out to let him grab it.
I actually love this interaction where basically Muradin moves in and tries to claim the camp, and Garrosh just throws him out like, get the hell out of my spot. And then Muradin is like, no you don't, jumps back in. But we have Garrosh already escaping through the portal, so yeah, pretty cool interaction between the two of them. That's one of the moments when I want to have Blizzard to put in that special dialogue between the two, where they are just like trash-talking each other.
I want him to put in the dialogue, don't tell the elf, from Lord of the Rings. Every time I see that happen when Garrosh throws the dwarf, every time I think about that moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I haven't even seen the full Lord of the Rings trilogy, but that moment still always stands out to me. And I wish that dialogue was in there.
Yeah, that dialogue would actually be really cool.
Well, Granit Gaming and Method holding pretty equal in terms of experience so far, even setting up for the night camp in the top left. That Shrine will be activating in the south, as Granit would love to have that pushing in. Method should be able to do the same pretty soon here, and Blaze is already on his way to the top right to get that bad boy pushing in.
Benny on Gimli or Muradin here is actually something that makes me happy to see. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really feel that when he joined Fnatic, there was a lot of hope of him transitioning his skills and his experience into the off lane. That didn't really work out, but now that he's on the main tank, I expect really that he's going to come into his old self, where he was just a big menacing force at the front line that was devastating opponents with his zoning abilities. But now, talking about zoning, we have the control started here. Keep in mind, this is an Abathur composition that we see from Method. Darkmok is already spinning to win here and claiming space as they are trying to get ahead, but he needs to be careful because Aethero is starting to threaten him and Benny's jumping in deep.
He is, and he has a Stormbolt in pretty soon. Jet Propulsion comes out, there goes some lockdown, Nick comes in with the arrows, and that's going to be 2 pickoffs as Sonya and Alex Straza are taken out. Method able to secure those kills they need to grab the point, and now they can turn their attention to clearing out. And if they're left freely here to set up, they do have the explosive arrows, which means they have pretty decent shrine control themselves.
Really nice aggression here and good synergy from Aethero and Benny. Both of them just going in deep with the Jet Propulsion jump and setting those stuns up. And it created a lot of space for Nick, who was never really under pressure here and could just fire away, get the scatter arrows through, and then make sure that he got both of the fleeing targets. So really nice setup here on the first shrine, especially considering that this Abathur composition is always a little bit iffy at the beginning. Okay, how much can you set up there? But Abathur on top of Muradin is of course always very dangerous to face, and now that's a fantastic start with an Abathur composition against Granit Gaming.
Raid Boss, Posse Indomitable, pulls over the Punisher with the ability to have the portals around. He's able to get out, but
look how
actually looking pretty aggressive. Yeah, they're diving past here. This is with an Abathur composition now. To be fair, Sonya is in the top lane, so Granit Gaming have a bit of a hard time here fighting in a 3v4.
But they're full in their face at this point, and they're starting to go in now on Raid Boss, and he needs to be careful. The portal actually expires, and Benny sees an opportunity to go in. Doesn't have the cooldown for the hammer just yet, but he's trying to look for the Stormbolt again. Moves out, but they got so much out of this. Now Sonya, again, gets, of course, a bit of value towards the top, but ADRD still body soaked the experience here. But from a structural perspective, the amount of damage that Method just did at the bot lane is really impressive, considering they're running an Abathur comp here.
Blaze already soaking in the middle too, and you see the experience jump up here for Method with that Abathur comp helping out, as you mentioned. Hitting 8 1/4 to the 7 3/4 as Granit Gaming starts to move towards 8 themselves. Definitely still in this, but with their Fort Bruise in the bottom lane, and Abathur being able to kind of passively push that as well, the next shrine phase could equal a fort for Method if they actually don't want to move in and grab that Punisher for themselves. Then grab a fort, get the experience, and maybe even jump towards level 10.
Yeah, Life Funnel has, by the way, been chosen on the side of Darkmok, so it's really full on the sustain part now when it comes to Sonya. On level 4, we have Hurricane, which is pretty much the usual these days in most builds, but no poisons beyond 7, no battle rage, instead going full for a sustain build through the Whirlwind. And I mean, you go up against Jet Propulsion and against Muradin too, so there's definitely a few tools that can interrupt it. But outside of that, the idea is definitely, let's try and take the control on the shrines, have Alex Straza there as well. So we're gonna see if that's gonna work out for them. It's definitely, it's sacrificing a bit of potential burst damage that you could see on Sonya.
I was wondering, actually, we've seen that 4 and 7 come online. What would you have thought of block here at level 1 instead of the Warpaint? Especially because there's no major aggressive auto attackers in the input. Hang on. Cursing gets tossed in, and that's going to be a pick. Neemcraft's in trouble, though. Wolfdale's going to have to do his best to keep him alive, and he won't be able to do so as Method trades out 1 for 1.
There's still an attempt to get maybe even a second kill, but the stuns are there. But immediately Medivh is ready. Great play here by Nanda, make sure that no one else dies. But that was a good setup for Granit Gaming. Getting that first kill here, and definitely showing that they're not intimidated early on here. They're definitely showing at this point, hey, we're here to fight, we're here to win. We're not just going to back down because we got an early game lead.
Certainly key there. Not being intimidated by your opponent. Being able to find that fear was good there. If Golden was able to walk to the bottom right, maybe have gotten that circle life, but it's really hard to walk into that choke because of Hondo dropping down those scatter arrows. I can see why he didn't head that route. Gotta note though, how hard it is to kill raid bots here, being able to really control that front line due to the Force of Wills and of course that armor that naturally comes in with Garrosh. 10 will hit for Granit Gaming, and we'll be able to set up for this next shrine phase.
Now for Alexstrasza, we have in terms of build not a full spec into Abundance. Instead, we have Exuberance now taken on level 4, and we're seeing the Life Blossom on at level 7. So it's really important for them to keep Alexstrasza, to keep Wolfjaw in the back and make sure that he's not dropping too much in health, since you want to get that extra bonus once that you are above 75%.
So here we go. Shrine phase is about to pop up. Immediately, Granit Gaming is on top of the shrine. They know they need to do better this time and not get picked off, so they need to play a little bit more passive. The Wrath immediately comes in too, making it a little bit easier for her to be able to handle that front line as Corruption will continue to poke. Now, typically, if you're playing Alexstrasza, we want to have you get a little bit aggressive in the start here with your Cleansing Flame, and we do so. Granit Gaming goes straight in, and they're jumping on top of ADRD, who has the clone, but Memecraft is not able to stay alive here as Golden just gets picked off due to an arrow.
He might not be the only one. Garrosh is also in trouble, and there's Alexstrasza again, this time in Dragon form. They're trying to get a kill. The double mirrored and really wreak havoc in the backline and had so much CC here. So now Raid Boss is already aiming for Bad Benny, but ADRD, after the clone expired, is already back to business with another symbiote, and they're starting to claim the space here. It's a really close game so far, but we're having on the second shrine phase still Gul'dan missing. He's on his way back, but in the meantime, Darkmorg is in trouble.
Darkmorg's in trouble, and Wolfie's trying to keep him alive, but with no Dragon Queen, it's actually a bit difficult, especially with the Circle of Lights really showing where exactly Blaze can drop down his oil. Raid Boss continues to step forward, but the Shrine phase is starting to go over to Method. 39 to 27, they just need one more, and there it is. 2 Punishers in a row for Method.
Yeah, Memecraft is at this point definitely the question mark on the team, just simply because he doesn't have the same amount of experience as the other players do. Now, we've had all of them in HGC with him being the exception, so he needs to just come into that play a little bit. First of all, of course, there's a good chance that there are nerfs playing a role now as well, playing in this setup. And the second aspect is that he's probably also used to get away with a bit more aggressive positioning that he's now just getting punished for. But that's definitely going to change over the next few days and also the next few games in the series. They did a great job defending here. There's a lot of experienced players next to him that can really just help him to fit into that role. But from a new player, that's definitely something where we can overlook small mistakes on the position in the beginning.
Yeah, especially it's kind of difficult to play with a Alexstrasza as well when she's not in Dragon Queen. That burst heal being available, that save button, isn't something that she has.
Yeah, and I always want to give the example of Roswick for just to name one. Hold your horses there before we follow down that path, because we could see another kill. The copy gets taken out, but at the same time, Nanda is barely getting away. Curson a bit too late on his ult, but we have a good Horrify that puts Aethero into trouble. And they are throwing him into the backline. Good jet propulsion, a turnaround attempt from Method as they're trying to go for the kill, and they get it, but Blaze falls too.
It's going to be a trade here, but another scatter arrow comes out, and that'll be a pick. As we have 2 picked off, might be a third as Bad Benny goes in, drops Stormbolt, Wolfjaw unable to escape. Nande might be next. Does he have the Force of Will? There it is, but here comes the arrow and the auto attack. Method takes 4 from Granit.
Yeah, they're doing extremely well here. ADRD just having a quick pause, but it gives me an opportunity to talk again about Rosmek, because when we talk about new players, I think Rosmek is a shining example. When he came into HGC and he started to play his first few games, there were several moments where he just got picked off in a situation where he should have never been, and they lost 1 or 2 games just because he was not experienced enough. And then you follow the player's path down the road a little bit, and just like 2-3 weeks later, and all of a sudden, he's the one making the plays. So that's something where I'm absolutely willing to give people like Memecraft, Last Hope, later on Fnatic, just a bit of time to grow into this and to deal with the entire situation. But coming back to the game itself, I really think that we can already see how strong Method is. Like that lineup, ADRD has talked about, yeah, we might need a little bit more time to find our rhythm. That looks solid to me already.
Yeah.
So
I was expecting a little bit more of a struggle, too, with this composition from Method, but they are delivering, finding the kills in the early game, which is what they needed. Bad Benny looks comfortable on the hero. You saw that with the invade in the bottom left, where he bought time with his team with the Abathur hat, not jumping the gun either, waiting for those moments before he launches that Stormbolt. So Bad Benny already fit in that role, and being in a spot where he wants to be, you show that confidence that's really coming through.
I mean, we still have Granit Gaming. They are assumed to be one of the weaker teams in HGC Europe at this point. But if you look at Method, they look like a well-oiled machine right now. And especially Nick is just sitting there, just like, guys, I have all the space in the world. I can do whatever I want. Like, Blaze is at the front, zoning for him. We have ADRD together with Bad Benny, the Muradin Abathur combo, creating space, and Nick is just sitting in the back with his Hanzo, and he's just firing shots the entire game and gets one kill after another. Like, he's enjoying that a lot right now.
That's one of my favorite things if you're a Hanzo player. If you have a double front line in front of you and you have the space to line up those shots, you will be pretty darn effective. Now, we got a bit of a PC crash. That's what's currently messing with us right now as we're going to be in this timeout mode, but we'll be back soon here. Let's go ahead and check out Method and their roster swaps. Acquired as the Bad Benny and ADRD coming in, bringing back the old roster of 2017. Released so with Schwimpy and Arcaner enjoying his first victory with his new team, Team Liquid, yesterday, and then Schwimpy will be seen later on.
Yeah, and again, with Method, this is definitely a team that is going to attack the offline spots again. And I feel like we have to highlight that once more, because if you look at Europe right now, if you look at the teams that we have within HGC Europe, there's a couple where you really expect them to do really well here. And that's, of course, Dignitas at the forefront. Fnatic has always been a top 2 contender. We have Team Liquid with a lot of ambition, and then we have also Method. So these 4 teams are expected to be the strong ones, but you have wild horses in there, as for example the Zealots. We don't really know how strong leftovers are right now. They looked fantastic yesterday with Moxio.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can happen, and for a lot of teams, not making it to the offline finals would be a disaster.
There's only so many slots, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you perform in your first couple of weeks. So here we go. Back into the match here. As Granit Gaming just came off with 4 members getting picked off. Sonya able to get back to lane to try to soak up that experience. Needs to get to 13 before the next Shrine phase. But Granit Gaming, moving forward, they got to play around Gul'dan here. We're still working on those stats.
And here's one of the problems that I have with especially the build that we see on Sonya, but also the damage output in general on that part. If you go over to Abathur now, we have so much transference. And I talk about the talent a lot. I think it's a fantastic one. And it just means that you are having more sustain on whoever you symbiote. And for Muradin, this is fantastic. He already gets his healing static on 13, which is great. But now, thanks to so much transference on Abathur, he gets the additional health for every single hero that gets hit by the spike burst. So taking Muradin down is going to be incredibly difficult, and they just don't have a lot of damage there. If you don't have a Poison Spear, if you don't have another second DPS in the backline, you're relying right now a lot on Minecraft with this Gul'dan to put the damage out, and I just don't know if it's enough to really deal with Muradin outside of you just hitting an absolute perfect Horrify that allows you to burn him down somehow.
It's a really weird spot. Oh my gosh, this push in the middle, by the way, was very ridiculous. This Method was able to grab up all the Merc camps on the map and open up the middle side. But with Muradin kind of jumping in your face in that level 7 talent, given the Axe coming online, like, you are constantly getting poked down due to that hack coming in there. So Granit Gaming may have to just kind of wiggle around Muradin. I know it's pretty difficult, and find somebody else to pick off. Now, Fearin and Hanzo would be prime targets, but you got to play around Ice Block and, of course, that natural agility. Now, with Shrines activating towards the top, Granit Gaming makes their way over. Again, they know their composition is made to control the Shrine. They have to win it in some way.
The problem is they also are still miles away from completing Echo Corruption on Gul'dan, so that's another issue when it comes to the damage output. He's only sitting at 23 right now, and we have an extra talent for Method to boot. So at this point, they're looking at the 2-level lead. The stat advantage alone is already rough to deal with, and you have the talent advantage. I mean, Darkmog is still ambitious and goes for it, but ADRD has taken an aggressive position. Oh, Kirsten, on the other hand, gets taunted and attacked. That could be the kill. He's not down yet, but they're trying to confirm it, but here comes Blaze with the bunker.
Arrow comes out, hits Memecraft too, and Kirsten's actually still alive. Finally, he gets cleaned up. Memecraft trying to kite away and get as much healing as he can. The Force of Will into the Circle of Life. Will it be enough? Memecraft able to survive. Finally living through here, and he'll continue to poke while Darkmog is just cleaning up everything on the opposing side.
Good job. We just talked about try to focus different targets. Don't deal with that front line here. And they make the move straight into Kirsten. Didn't even have the time to go for a Twilight Dream there. Great kills for Granit Gaming.
And bottom.
I mean, this is insane that they were able to actually get this. But as you said, bot lane, that's a different issue. That's where we are seeing the Keep already suffering a 50% health damage.
That Abathur factor. If he's left alone by himself, eventually you will have to deal with him. And he gets that Keep down to about half health. Finally, Gul'dan gets down there to clean it up, so it should be just fine for now. But Granit Gaming will have to make something happen with this Protector or this Punisher, and they're actually waiting to grab it. Getting 16 would be a great ambition for them, and also looking over really quickly to Minecraft. Let's see his level 1 here. 25 stacks. Typically when you click that with your level 16, you're able to really pop out a lot of damage when you can finish that. Needs a few more, but still continuing to build for that late game.
Yeah, Method definitely in a spot where the last fight didn't go as planned, and it's always a bit rough when you have someone like Garrosh able to move in straight into Malfurion. That's where really Medivh comes online, where that portal can allow you to jump into the backline, and we've seen in the past how strong that combo can be of a well-placed portal, and then Garrosh using his taunt to just bait someone in. So that's one of the things that Method has to be careful of, especially when we're talking about Malfurion. It was a great reaction by Method to try and save him through the help of Blaze, but as the kill got confirmed, Granit Gaming was gaining a little bit more momentum, and now they're trying to use it with the Punisher to get some structures and maybe even a slight lead in experience.
And I like how Granit Gaming kills off Medivh as well, just to make sure that no one's backdooring that keep in the bottom left. That is something that Method has shown in the past. They're willing to give up a fort to try to rush down your opponent, and with them scouting out Muradin, Method was forced to pull away and set up for the defense, which means Medivh comes on his way over. Another engage, Raid Boss goes to the portal, tosses Blaze, but he'll use the bunker. Taunt comes out, Minecraft pops in the Horrify, but you gotta be careful here. That's a healthy Blaze. Jet Propulsion comes out, and it also hits Gul'dan.
And Bad Benny is immediately jumping in as Aethero gets baited, as he gets horrified. He jumps in deep and tries to get the kill. Once again, we have him in there. Now Abathar could help out. Darkmok is already low, but Benny is getting a couple of hits in, but we have him also falling rather low, popping Abathar. Here comes again the Symbiote and the speed boost that he gets through the 16 on Abathar. They're still on an attempt to chase, and if he has the Stormbolt, jumps in, jumps out, but we have a lot of stuns that are still available if they can make sure that they don't mount.
Raid Boss getting an additional stun at level 16. The portal just in time, Jet Propulsion doesn't hit, but the Stormbolt comes in and will hit Gul'dan. Meanwhile, this entire time, Abathar pushing the bottom lane. Granit Gaming has to turn around or get out now. They turn around and try to heal on up, but Minecraft, he is low.
And there's again once more the copy. ADRD with the Hanzo copy goes in. The clone is there. Wolfjo goes down. Great kill, and the bot lane is about to drop the keep. So that's absolute fantastic macro game here. But ADRD needs to be careful. Medivh goes down as well. ADRD still needs to be a bit cautious. I think he was still in position at the bot lane. Yep, here he respawns as Abathar. So now he has to get out of the way, but he's still trying to deal with a keep first.
No, this should definitely be a keep here for Method. They're even thinking about taking down this middle lane too by opening up the turrets, because the next shrine is actually in the middle lane. So if they can finish that Punisher, they'll be able to take away the keep and maybe go straight for a game. So Method setting up for the next play. If they get a pick here, they could try to win. But Granit Gaming is playing it safe, poking from afar, and making sure Garrosh is the only one that is in position to maybe get picked.
Yeah, they get the keep at the bot lane. They still have some pressure going in the middle. They're not going to go for the double here just yet. Method heading into level 20. And 10 kills against 4 pretty much tell the story here too. The only real situation where Method was in trouble was at that bot shrine fight, at top shrine fight, my bad. And in that, I feel Granit Gaming just had the perfect engage, and they played really well around that. We have them actually with a lot of sustain now too, especially through Sonya, who has now her level 16, the Nerves of Steel. So Echoed Corruption and 16 on Gul'dan give them now a bit more damage output, especially once the level 1 is going to be completed. But Method is still running the show here, and they of course have now set themselves up with that keep push at the bot lane, where they also control the macro game in the lane.
And now they have really good control over the Shrine too, with level 20 hitting. They have that piercing arrows from level 16 too, that will be able to clear out and also put damage on their opponents. Method gonna be feeling pretty comfortable in that situation. Granit Gaming now waiting for level 20 themselves, have to defend it, push in the middle lane. As Method trying to squeeze out as much as they can with this level 20 upgrade they've got. Stormbolt comes out immediately, Raid Boss unable to find a pick.
Yeah, great control here of the portal, using Malfurion for that. We've seen that in the past a lot, that you're trying to control the portals with the root, and once that we had Nanda set the first portal up, there was immediately a root on the ground, and everyone else was waiting with a Stormbolt follow-up. But Method has still put some pressure onto that keep here in the mid lane. They used the level 20 to aggressively push in and do some damage. And now with the Shrine activating, that means that if they grab the Punisher, if they actually get it, if they take this one, then they have an easy time going through the keep in the middle and maybe going directly for core.
Even getting the Merc Camp here to have that push in the middle, which you don't really expect this to get too much, but it gives you vision, of course, with everything being pushed in with the minions, giving you more of a heads up if your opponent does come your way. Granit Gaming able to get their own vision though. They have a bird in the sky as Nande scouts out his opponents. Granit Gaming trying to find maybe a pick afar from Method so they can get a kill. But they have to be careful here. 19 to 20 in a situation where they may have to take the Shrine. They step up and take a fight that they're at a disadvantage in.
Yeah, once again, Bad Benny jumping in deep, going straight for Minecraft. Great boss with a taunt. Horrify comes out. Great move by them. But there we still have the immediate avatar. Now he can start clapping here with a healing static. Bunkers on the ground now as well. Extraza flying around. Benny waiting for his trade to proc now too. And this is not looking good for Granit Gaming. Hey, we're off to a good start, but they've burned most of their cooldowns by now. And they also lost the Mortar Punisher.
Darkmonk is trying to stay alive, but everything is getting used to keep him up, and eventually gets to a point where he's going to have that Whirlwind. Sun comes out, and Darkmonk finally gets cleaned up, and next will be Nande. Bad Benny goes in, drops down the hammers. It's going to be a pick of 2 there, and the rest of Method immediately looks towards going to the middle lane. They already have this Punisher, and they want the core.
Yeah, they definitely want that. They are going to get that keep now, and there's very little that you can do with Granit Gaming now. There's only 3 heroes remaining. Most of the heroic abilities are still on off cooldown. The only one is Garrosh, and the shields are already gone. I mean, this should be the end of it. Raid Boss at this point is just desperately running away and trying to keep himself alive. But Method is eyeing the core, they're eyeing game number 1, and this is just something that you can't get out of.
No, you cannot. Another member gets picked off. Raid Boss is trying to buy some time here, but he gets cleaned up too. The Punisher's so angry, actually going straight for Wolf Joe instead of going straight for the core. But the rest of Method will turn around, focus their attention, and burn it down slowly. Method able to come out on day number 2. Bad Benny being a little cheeky and get a 1-0 over Granit Gaming.
Great play by Method and a well-deserved victory. A few signs of life from Granit Gaming, but Method coming in and being dominant. And yeah, looking like a well-oiled machine. A couple of kings to smooth out here and there, but